Like and subscribe. Welcome, Negronis with Nord, episode number 8. Today we are talking all about SephoraSquad. Applications are open. They are open till April 6th. If you don't know what SephoraSquad is, first of all, welcome to the world. I don't know what rock you've been living under, but this is the biggest ambassador program in beauty, potentially the biggest ambassador program in the influencer space. It is a life changer, it's a kingmaker, it is all of the things you need it to be. You're talking about a year-long paid contract with Sephora, amplification on their channels, opportunities with all of the brands that work at Sephora, mentorship, community, hopefully in-person events. You're meeting with Jennifer Lopez sometimes, she's just popping onto Zoom talking to you. This program does it all, and it can totally change your life. Today we are hearing from Ndeye, who was a member of SephoraSquad and is now a launch partner, and Suzannah from the Sephora team, who runs the whole Sephora program here. If you have ever been interested in applying for SephoraSquad, you absolutely want to see these through. They're going to talk about tips for your application, what the program is, what makes it special, the impact it has on your life, and generally why we think you should apply. As always, I'll do the YouTuber thing and say like and subscribe. We have these videos every week. You can always ask questions in the comments. You can DM get in touch with us in any way. We will answer your questions. On to the interesting part of the episode. First, we are going to talk to someone who has kind of been through all parts of SephoraSquad, applied, been rejected, applied, gotten in, and now a launch partner for this year. So we're going to talk about what all of that is like. So Ndeye, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on being a launch partner. We're going to talk a little bit about what that means and how you get it. But before that, maybe tell the people out there a bit about how you got into this world, what you do, what your focus is on Instagram, YouTube, and then we'll jump into SephoraSquad.
I think I can't tell the story of what I do on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or anything like that without saying first, I am a first generation American. So my parents are both Senegalese, born and raised there. So growing up, I didn't know what I had a passion for, but I knew that one of the options had to be lawyer, doctor, engineer. So I ended up choosing lawyer. That didn't really work out. I ended up teaching. And as I was teaching, I was just falling more in love with beauty, specifically on YouTube. I was watching some huge beauty gurus, just learning how do I do my makeup. And so as I started learning, I actually started to share that with other people. I just started my blog. I don't know how or why, but I just had such a passion for makeup that as I started to do my face and just share how I did my face, I shared tips, I shared tricks, and I think that my background in education and my background with constantly explaining things to people really helped in showing how do you put on a foundation, how do you wear a blush. And so I taught for 3 years, and I actually quit in 2020 to go full-time as a content creator, and then applied for SephoraSquad, and here we are now.
There we go. So I want to actually go back a little bit because, that jump from I am consuming content and this is really fun to I'm actually going to create it. What do you think made you want to start, your own channel? That's not something most people do. Most people just continue to consume content. So what was it that made you think, what, I think that I have something to add to this space?
I didn't see anyone that looked like me. I saw people that were similar. This was back in 2015 when I started really consuming beauty content, and I didn't start sharing content of my own until 2017. And in those 2 years, even when I would watch the beauty gurus, even when I would try to take their tips and tricks, it didn't always translate to me. It didn't always look the same on me because my complexion was much darker, my facial features were different, and so I just got to a point where even before I started creating my own content, when I was still lost, I started to do makeup on other people as a makeup artist. And I remember specializing in clients who were of deeper skin tones just because there was that lack of education, that lack of visibility. And so I think I turned from consumer to producer once I realized if there's no one there that looks like me, maybe it could be me.
Yeah. I think that's such a powerful thing about social is that unfortunately, groups that are underrepresented were ignored by the beauty industry for so long, were ignored by, the traditional press. If you're in Vogue and it's giving makeup tips, it's mostly for white women that look a certain way. When did it start to feel oh shit, this might be I might be good at this, and this might be something I can really do?
I think it was less of a moment of I might be good at this and this is something I can really do, and more of a moment of wow, I'm making an impact, I can't stop. When I first got a DM from someone saying like finding your page like has made my day so much better. I've never seen someone who's looked like me. I hope you continue to thrive. And like starting that dialogue with them via DMs. This is someone I didn't know. It's one thing when your friends tell you,
Right.
oh, you've helped me do something. It's something completely different when someone who doesn't know you tells you, you matter and you're making me feel like I matter. It was at that moment I knew like no matter what happens, whether this goes somewhere or doesn't go anywhere, I can't stop.
Yeah, I just got chills.
Me too.
You know, Woo, feeling good. All right. So then, okay, so you start doing, the channel is growing. You quit the job in 2020, right? Which is a huge jump, especially in a pandemic.
I know.
So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about when did you first hear about SephoraSquad? When was the first time you applied? What was that like?
So I was actually still teaching. It was in 2019 that I first applied. And I remember just seeing the application. I was just like, well, I spent all my money at Sephora anyway. So if this is like a SephoraSquad, like who better than someone who spends their check, the entire teacher's paycheck, on products. And I remember I was actually talking to some of my students and they were like, Miss, just do it. Just like apply. And I was like, okay. And like my students, it's so funny. They literally put sticky notes around the school building like, leave a review. Miss Ning's makeup is always good. Like make sure you let them know. And I remember just doing it and asking people to submit testimonials, my audience to submit testimonials. And then I didn't get it. And I think at the time, I have it to this day. I think I posted like, thank you guys so much. This isn't the end. This is a no for right now. And like, I just put my head down and just kept creating content.
You decide to apply again the next year then?
No, I didn't apply in 2020. I took a year off.
And then what brought you back in 2021?
I always knew that I wanted to do it. Like when I did my vision board at the beginning of 2021, I put SephoraSquad. And so I knew that in 2020, the only thing that stopped me from applying was fear, was like nervousness, because it's like, there is no other ambassador program like SephoraSquad where literally you are putting yourself out there, not only to your audience, but to your peers, your colleagues of, I'm trying to get this, please help me. And like, they need to submit the testimonials for it. And so I think for a little bit, there was like this fear of, well, what if I don't get it again? Everyone is gonna see that I didn't get it because of how hard I campaigned for them to like submit a testimonial for me. And then I remember just having a moment of, I'm always telling people, like, feel the fear and do it anyway. No matter what it is in life, if you're nervous about something, if you have the thought, just do it. The worst that can happen is you don't get it and you apply again. And so I remember in 2021, when I saw the applications came out, I was just like talking to myself, like, just do it, just do it. And I literally said, you know what? I want it. If I fail, who cares? If I get it, amazing. So like I put my application in. I started to ask for testimonials.
Okay, so you put the application, you're getting the testimonials, you get through semifinals, and then you're in the squad, which is probably pretty exciting. I mean, what was that like once you got to semifinal where you're like, this is gonna happen? This is like, I feel really good about this.
If I'm being honest, when I got the finalist notification, I was like, okay, I'm excited, but let me not get too excited until they announced the final roster, because in 2019, I actually did make it to the semifinals. Okay. And so it was kind of like I've made it here before. The first time it didn't go so well. Let me just like keep telling them to push testimonials in the meantime. Once I did get the actual notification of like, okay, like you've made it, I remember opening the email, or I got the email like mid-walk. I was downtown, and I was like, oh gosh, this is either gonna be good or it's gonna be bad. And I was like, do I wanna open my email now, or do I wanna wait till I get home? And then like I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait till I get home just because I need to make it there safely. And so as soon as I got home, literally key was still in the door. As soon as I walked in, I opened and checked the email, and I literally jumped up and down and screamed so hard that my neighbor came from downstairs, like just making sure everything is good. And I was just like, yeah, it's good.
I love that. I mean, amazing willpower. I don't think I could have waited. So then you get in it, and I think that like one of the things that's hard for us is to, fully explain in the application process what it is like to be in the program and how transformative it can be for your career. So your first year of it is about to close. You're about to be a launch partner, which means you don't have to apply anymore, which is great. We think we've gotten you to apply enough. What's that first year been like, and what's the impact been for you as a creator? It's
been amazing. It's been life-changing, and I tell that to anyone that's interested in applying. If you're hesitating, if you're nervous, do it. Simply because as soon as you get or as soon as the announcements come out that you've made the Sephora Squad, literally I was inundated with emails from brands. Some brands that I had been emailing or my management had been reaching out to like for months that like we didn't necessarily get a response back from. Hey, Ndeye, we heard you're part of the Sephora Squad. So excited, would love to gift you, would love to do this. And I'm like, I've been trying to reach you guys for months and like sharing your products all over my page, but not only do you get like brands who you love, also like now noticing you and seeing you. Outside of that, I think what's had one of the biggest impacts on me as a creator, especially a creator whose background is in education, is the meetings where we're able to meet brand owners and brand founders, because there are literally so many products on the market, so many products that you can get at Sephora, and so many products for different people based on their needs. And being able to have that one-to-one conversation, one-to-one education from the brand owners of what their products do, who they work for, allows me to be able to better speak to my audience. And so that education, that educational aspect is like invaluable. Outside of that, I think just being able to have one-on-ones with people from both the Sephora team, the Four team, and just asking questions, not even just specifically about SephoraSquad, but about the industry. I had a one-on-one with Suzannah because I have like a life-changing moment that happened. I got married and I'm thinking, thank you, about moving to Canada. And I remember asking her, hey, you know, I'm a US-based creator. If I move to Canada, how is that going to impact me with deals? How is that going to impact me, you know, in my career? And she took the time, 30 minutes, and we just talked it out. And I feel like that's something that if I wasn't on SephoraSquad, I don't know who I could have gone to who was like going to be able to give me that information. And so there's been so many benefits for it for me personally.
I've heard that story so many times of people when they get in SephoraSquad, getting on PR lists that they hadn't been on, getting inbound, you know, that like, yes, you get the contract with Sephora and that's great, but like you're also, you know, working with all these other brands that, you know, maybe you hadn't noticed you before, you've been trying to get in touch with and hadn't gotten back to you. Is there anything else that, you know, outside of the kind of one-on-one help and the community that's inside of SephoraSquad, is there any other like big either misconceptions you had or things that you think people don't understand about the program when you're kind of saying, hey, y'all need to apply for this?
I guess the only thing I can say is like, if there's a creator that's worried that, oh, if I take SephoraSquad, how is that going to impact me with being able to work with other brands? Or am I still going to be able to, you know, shop at other, you know, places? Or like, how is that going to impact how I can show with my audience? It really doesn't. Everything works together in tandem. And what I can say is that the SephoraSquad team that I worked with, they work with you, not against you, right? So like if there's something that you want to do, if there's a brand that you want to showcase love to, as long as you're like within the parameters, you're all set. And if anything, they champion for you to like really be able to work with brands and to be able to elevate in your career. It's not just about you being a part of the SephoraSquad. It's about like you and where you want to go and the impact you want to make in the beauty industry. And so if you have any like hesitations of how this can impact you in a negative way, I can honestly say there's been no negative impact. If anything, there's just been positive impact. So that's what I've taken from it.
Love it. You're a launch partner, obviously, so you're going to be announcing this, driving people to apply. We're obviously kind of using your story as an archetype of what can happen. What is kind of any tips that you have for people who are applying on what they can do to get in?
Yeah, I'll give you my tips. The first thing I did was, at the time, Lauren, who is here, she was doing a clubhouse room with Brittany Hennessy, and I made sure I was in that clubhouse room. If you are seeing people who are representatives of SephoraSquad or for holding meetings, holding talk sessions, putting up videos telling you, here's what SephoraSquad is about, here's what you should do, tune in, tap in. Like, don't just tune in and tap in. After that, follow whoever was speaking on behalf of SephoraSquad. Engage with them. Send them a DM. Like, engage with the posts on the Fora page that talk about SephoraSquad. Make sure you stand out. Like, there's thousands of people who apply, but like, what can you do in your application process, in your testimonial process, and anything leading up until the selections? What can you do to stand out so that they remember you? If you leave a comment every day and your name pops up when reviews are happening, maybe they remember, oh, hey, this person, you know, left a comment, and so they know how invested you are in the program. And so my biggest tip would definitely be to do your homework, do your research, LinkedIn, see who's a part of it, like just find ways to connect with people so that you can make sure that who you are stands out, and let it be known how passionate you are and that you're not just applying to apply, but you're applying because you love Sephora and you want to be a part of SephoraSquad.
I love that. And I think it's you know, the data, the numbers, all of that is really important. But I do think that, so much of this program hinges on the passion people have for it, how invested they are, how much they want it. And often that's the stuff that puts people over the edge, both in the way they answer the application, any communication they've had, and of course, their testimonials, which I know for you were very strong. You had your students out there being like, putting up bulletins in the hallway and stuff, which I love. Last question, you're going from like participant to leader in this program. You're going into your second year in it. What goals do you have? How are you kind of using that amplified platform of being in SephoraSquad? Like, what are your goals for yourself and for the program as you kind of like shift your role inside of it?
Yeah, I think for a long time, a lot of my content was focused on like my audience and teaching and education when it comes to makeup. And I think that still remains like a main content pillar for me, is to just be educational when it comes to using makeup, but also to just like be an expert in the industry when it comes to complexion products, skincare products. But beyond that, the way I want to take it a step further is also being a voice for other Black content creators. I think we've seen over the years, like you said, in the beauty industry, there was not a lot of promotion or help or amplification of Black voices, of Black content creator voices. And so I think for anyone that is a content creator, there is a hurdle. There is something that you have to jump from when it comes to going from just being someone who puts up content to being a professional influencer. And so my goal over the next year or the next 2 years is to really not just lend my hand to my audience, but also to other people who want to walk into this space, and like being able to guide, to help, to provide insight on how to do certain things. And I think being a launch partner gives me that perfect balance of still being able to share what I love, but also being able to give that helping hand to anyone else that is trying to break into the space in a bigger and a more professional way.
Well, I'm sure you were a very good teacher, and while I'm sure your students are upset to not have you, we are very happy to have you in SephoraSquad for the second time. Excited for this to all roll out. If you don't follow, we will put up your Instagram and YouTube mostly, right?
Yeah, and TikTok.
Okay, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, you should follow on. You can learn something. There's a professor over here, y'all. I mean, Thank you so much, and I guess good luck to all the applicants, right?
Thank you for having me. Good luck. DMs are always open. You guys got this.
and she's promised she's going to answer, so you can hold her to it.
I will.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Ndeye for sharing her story. I feel inspired. And now that we've heard from the influencer perspective, I want to kick it over to Suzannah, who runs the 7-person team here at Sephora that operates SephoraSquad throughout the whole year. She's been on this program since this program has existed, and can say from the brand side and from Sephora's side what it takes to get in, what it takes to be successful in the SephoraSquad. We are moving on to interview number 2, the big boss, the head honcho here, Suze, who runs SephoraSquad. You are the queen. I mean, you've been here really since the beginning, right?
Yes, I have been here now. Well, we're launching year 4 of SephoraSquad, which is very exciting. But I've been here since its inception. Yeah, first week I came onto 4, I brought on, had the brief from Ray. I was like, this is literally just a piece of paper saying we should launch an entire ambassador program. And here we are 4 years later. It's such an exciting program to be part of.
Suze is a success story in her own. Started on the team and now runs the team.
Yeah, we are now, oh my gosh, it's wild. We're 7 people, and originally we started with 2. Wow, in that first year, we ran 80 campaigns with just myself and one other person.
That's a whole other episode. Obviously, this is like such an exciting part of the year. It's my favorite part of the year. I love SephoraSquad. I think even just talking to Ndeye, there are always those stories that are like so heartwarming and kind of, I think in an industry that can feel a little like, I don't want to say vapid, but I don't have a better word, so vapid. There is so much wholesomeness. It's like people watch the like British Bake Off, right? It's just like all just like so wholesome, and hearing about her students posting links to her testimonial page, you realize that like this has a real impact on people. So I'm excited. I know once you get through your pile of work, you will be excited.
I'm already excited. Trust me.
Already excited. That's good. You are a kingmaker.
I didn't say it.
You have a big part in you and your team have a big part in deciding who makes squad. And you have reviewed tens of thousands, 50,000 applications you've seen come through since you've been here. So what are the things that make people stand out? What are the tips for those people who are thinking about applying? to kind of cut through those thousands of people.
We always have people say, what is it about my application that allows me to really stand out for Sephora and for, because, we are, like you said, I think last year we had over 6,000 people that we were really vetting through heavily. What I'm looking through for in an application is really to see the passion for someone and why they actually want to be part of SephoraSquad. And it can definitely be about their personal storytelling and their experiences with Sephora, how that's helped to impact their career in a larger sense. But I'm also really looking for how they've connected and built community with people. And I think a great part of that is the testimonials we have. We're really looking through, of course, the platforms, the data, getting into those details about what kind of content you create. But at the end of the day, a lot of the choices and what we're really looking for is people who are going to come in here and showcase that they love beauty, they're creating a space of belonging, they're inviting their community to be part of that, and being able to truly amplify and represent those voices, like you said earlier with Ndeye, that are not always shown in the beauty community. So for me, it's looking through, yes, of course, the data and analytics. Are you actively posting on your profiles? Are you able to have strong engagement and reach? But really, it's about the story that you're sharing about both why you're passionate about Sephora and why you feel like you're going to be able to make the largest amount of impact being on the squad with us.
Yeah. That testimonial part, obviously, it is so important. And it's the hardest part, right? Because you have to put yourself out there. Nobody really posts one link to it and gets, thousands of testimonials, right? It's something you have to consistently tell your audience about. You have to give them a reason to leave it. They have to feel like you're really excited about it, you want this, and they can help you. And we know that's like the hardest part, but also like it is, I think, that hurdle that we kind of expect and hope that people will jump over, because again, we understand putting yourself out there is hard. We are reading those testimonials, not just how many you get.
Yes, but we're really going in and literally looking at what people are saying about you, because I find that oftentimes, you can really be able to tell your story really well, but if other people are resonating and connecting with your story, they are more than happy and willing to be able to come and advocate for you because you've been able to be there for them. Quite a few times that people always say, I really regretted if I didn't ask for testimonials. Like I applied and I felt nervous that my audience wasn't going to receive it well, or that they were not going to be supportive, or that maybe I wouldn't make it. Something bad would happen. I'd have a negative backlash from my audience. But more than less, those people have come back later and said, I really regretted not asking for testimonials. I saw everyone around me, and a lot of people, obviously it isn't the only factor, but a lot of people around me that made it into the squad, they were advocating and getting their audience to come out and support them. That was a huge part of them being able to showcase what their worth was and how they were able to support and amplify the Sephora squad on a larger scale.
And let's maybe play Mythbuster for a second. If I'm like, I don't want to leave this, I don't want to put up the link because I'm afraid someone will say something negative. Again, we see all the testimonials. Is that something that happens often?
Honestly, no. Usually if people are willing to spend the time to go and leave a testimonial for you, it's because they really love you and they want to support you and they want you to do well and achieve your dreams and your goals. So it's truly something that I find 9 out of 10 times you're going to have a glowing review and people want to share that. And at the end of the day, even if you don't make it in the squad, you're going to be able to see how much love and support you have from your community. And no one's going to say later on, I'm so upset that I went and I spent, a minute writing a testimonial for someone. And so they're going to say, wow, I really rallied behind this person and I can see that they are grateful for that and that I was able to help bring value to their life as much as they brought value to mine.
Yeah. The first year I remember we were really worried that there was going to be a lot of backlash and anger. And there's a lot of disappointment, and that's understandable. But I think that the testimonials, a lot of people find that the process of applying is worth it because they're getting feedback they never have gotten before.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like being a creator can be a lonely job and it can be hard to understand your impact. And seeing even 10 people, even 5 who are like, this person has really helped me, I really appreciate what they've done, can be really impactful. And I'm sure you hear that more than I have.
Yes, all the time. It seems like it's a big undertaking to fill out an application for a program because usually for a lot of partnerships, you don't have to do that. But truly taking 15 to 20 minutes to change your entire life potentially, feels worth it to me at least.
Feels worth it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think also, like you said, you're able to really drive home the sense of community and let your audience be part of something that could also really impact them as well. Like Ndeye said earlier, when you're part of the squad, it's not just access to being able to work with Sephora, it's being able to understand and learn more and educate people about the brands at Sephora, drive and build your business as a creator and offer more value to the people that are excited to be there in that community, there's so much more that goes beyond that. So really, when I think about it, the time it would take you to go to Starbucks and grab a coffee, you could completely change your career.
Getting into SephoraSquad is probably the closest thing the beauty industry has to like winning an Oscar, because it really sends a signal to the industry, like Ndeye said, that if Sephora and have picked this person, be it 5,000 followers or 5 million followers, right? That's sending a signal that, there's something really special happening there. Again, I think that it's something that you take with you years beyond even being in the program.
100%. And I think that is one of the great things about SephoraSquad, and some of the longer term effects of being a SephoraSquad partner is, of course, the years that you're on Squad, you're able to participate in a lot of campaigns, events, you have mentorship, community. No matter your following size, you truly can have so many different levels of impact on your career. But we also really still champion and work with our alumni members as well. So we tend to say, once you're in the Squad, you're always in the Squad. Like, we're really a family, and people still come to me from years back to ask advice, to be able to understand what it is that they could do to improve their channels, working with us and the brands at Sephora even. There's so many opportunities that this really just opens the door for. And I think that really it's something that I'm really proud of to work on year over year, because I see we've supported over 200 creators and amplified their voices in so many ways. And people literally have written me and said, this has changed my entire life.
I think they can look back on SephoraSquad as a turning point in their career. Even if things were already going well, it's like an elbow, that like brought it to another level. What outside of the contract, I think we talked about some of the mentorship and other things like that, but what else is it that like people kind of don't realize as part of the program that you think is really special?
I'd say probably a lot of the access you get to the Sephora and the 4 teams. We have monthly office hours available where literally you can come sign up to meet with the 4 team, anyone here, or with any one of the Sephora teams, including the influencer marketing team, the social team, brand marketing, and you also have access to all of our launch partners to get advice, mentorship, coaching, like peer-to-peer moments that really are not common outside, and at least in the influencer space in general, of a program like this. So having the access to be able to understand how to grow and expand your business, but also how to become a better content creator, and literally using tips and tricks and best practices from one of the biggest beauty brands in the world. I mean, that's huge. And on the 4 side, I think it's really impactful that we're able to help people who, no matter where you are with your follower size or your growth or your goals, we can be there for you to be an advice from an industry perspective, because we don't work just on the beauty side here at 4, but we also work across many verticals. And so as people are growing and changing and evolving their channels, we're able to be a solid point of advice no matter what. So I think access is huge for me. And then additionally, I think the community building, like Ndeye said, being able to build lifelong friendships, and influencer work can be a bit singular. A lot of times you're just sitting in your home filming something potentially, and you don't have a lot of like coworkers. And so I think that it's really wonderful. Ndeye had said to me previously, I feel like SephoraSquad allows me to have the coworkers I never had when it came to influencing. And that kind of community and the friendships you can build that go beyond just your time on the squad, I think is really something that, I don't know, it just makes me really happy. And I think it also is really impactful for everyone.
Yeah. In previous years, we've done a lot of in-person, or a few in-person events a year. Hopefully we can bring that back this year, variance.
Safety permitting.
Yeah, variance permitting, because I think that community aspect is something Sephora is also really passionate about, And I think something I've always really admired is the way that, once you're in the squad, no matter your following size, you're treated the same way. Everyone's a squad member. There are not kind of variations of kind of like clicks inside of that or something. And Sephora really works to make sure whatever the benefits are, everybody's getting those benefits.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, we're really focused on making sure that it's a very equal opportunity for everyone, because we don't want anyone to feel like they're getting a different experience than someone else on the squad based off of any factor. We're really a place about belonging and being able to truly come and commit time and energy and space for every single one of our members. And so I think that's another thing, that working with someone for a year long in a paid capacity, it just allows for so much more relationship building to happen over time compared to a lot of partnerships that might be more one-off or shorter term. Being on a year-long paid partnership, one, allows you some stability, but also allows you to be able to build and cultivate your relationship with not just Sephora, but with the people around you, the brands that you're working with, and really to be able to build up, I think, it does a lot more consistency within your own feed and with your life in general when it comes to content creation.
Yeah. Now you're coming into your 4th year of this. Is this your first year completely like running it, being the boss?
Yeah, this is my first year being the head honcho.
Being the big boss, great. What are your kind of hopes for, what to do with the program? What are some of the things that you want to do more of, and your kind of hopes for this next class coming up?
Yeah, I'm really excited because, one, being able to help amplify even more voices is huge for me. I feel like being part of this program year over year, like I said, we had over 200 creators we've already helped support, and so being able to expand that for another year is really exciting. But I'm really hoping to dive a bit more into leading with an influencer strategy and really allowing their creativity to be at the forefront of what Sephora is doing. As we expand more into emerging platforms like TikTok, even things like Reels, we're seeing that the influencers truly have so many great ideas, and we really want to listen to those and be a sounding board to bring those ideas to life. And Sephora is a wonderful, super collaborative partner. I mean, honestly, from an account perspective, this is like a dream client because they do trust the influencers so much, and they really want to allow them to shine. And Sephora is really working on different and new ways that we can continue to incorporate their voices into both Sephora's channels and amplification on that side, but also within the influencers' own content they're creating for campaigns. Another goal of mine is really being able to expand and help continue to support our mentorship side of the program. I think especially these last couple of years, it was really difficult because people were so isolated. They didn't have a lot of opportunity to connect. And we're really hoping this is a space where people can truly come together and be able to celebrate and enjoy the wonderful things about beauty, but also get serious and learn and educate themselves and educate one another. So for me, I'm excited about that, and I'm also excited about hopefully having in-person events if it's all allowed, because it would be wonderful to get more FaceTime.
Those events, everyone brings the looks in a big way.
Yes, people are showing up. I love that. Truly, the content's great, but seeing the people in person is wonderful.
It's always great. I think something that's so exciting and so rare for a creator is they are so receptive to those ideas, and even things that aren't, campaigns that we're saying, hey, here's a brief, and the influencer says, oh, I have a great idea for that. But you can come to the team and say, this is something I want to put into the world. This is something I want to do. And you may not always be able to make it happen, but like, as you said, the team is there, Sephora is there to try and make those ideas happen. So you kind of have access to this absolutely massive platform. One that can drive not just your business, but follower growth, things like that. Getting onto Sephora's channels, their Instagram, their TikTok, their site, their emails. YouTube, yeah. And I think that those things are all there. And I think that this program, it rewards people who put the effort in the application. And then it rewards people that put the effort in during the actual program, right?
Yeah, I always say you get out of it what you put into it. And I think that's so true for this program, because there's so many opportunities that you can take advantage of, and so many ways that you can continue to help support both yourself and your audience throughout the entire year. And so, once again, taking the time to do the application is just the start. Being able to then dive in, and if selected, increase your social media toolkit, you could say, as you go through the entire year is like a really huge benefit. And I think personally too, it's interesting to see how far influencers come over the year. We recently just did a review of all of our squad members, and we were looking at the amount of growth people have had, and it is wild. We had some people that were at 400, 500% growth from last year. And I think so much of that is driven because of this partnership, and because they were able to really dedicate time and energy and work with the brands they were genuinely excited about to create really compelling content that spoke to people universally. Yeah. So I think that it's a huge benefit to be able to be amplified on Sephora's channels, and to also be able to continue building content that you're excited about on your own.
If you've made it this far, you've taken step one, you're doing your research, you're doing your homework. Geico's whole thing, 15 minutes could just save you 15%. This is 15 minutes could change your fucking life. So I think as from a scale perspective, this is really important and impactful. We hope you apply. But thank you so much. I know you're a very busy woman, so thank you for giving us 30 minutes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm excited about this year.
Yes, please apply. We can't wait to see it.
Okay, thank you all so much. Again, please apply. Put yourself out there. You really can change your life. As always, like, subscribe, ask us questions. We'll see you next week. And as always, if you don't want to look at my face while listening to me, we are on everywhere that there are podcasts. I haven't pulled it from Spotify yet in protest of Joe Rogan. I might, I'm leaving that in the back pocket, but as of now, we are still on Spotify as well.